Why does the brain continue to make speculative inferences endlessly, despite their total lack of usefulness? It's like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on around me at any given moment. I have no idea what actually lies behind my perception, my immediate perception. Nobody does. That's the circle of epistemology. It's the failure of epistemology. I mean, you can't ever actually know. But the brain just continues to occupy you, trying to apply labels or trying to apply some sort of pattern recognition, which is useless. Even patterns that, like the upholding of like these natural laws of the universe, natural laws of physics, logic itself. Like, the only way that morality is invalid in the presence of unforeseen powers is if logic itself is invalid. Because of the chain going all the way up, if you have power over a lower sentience, in the interest of morality, I mean, statistically speaking, if you believe that you could get away with being evil, then an unforeseen power would reasonably also be allowed of getting away with doing evil, which means it would do evil upon you in the same fashion. Lets you squish a bug in ways that you can't even understand. But the same would follow suit for it. A sentience beyond our perception would have its own perception, right? I mean, it has its own sense of perception, whatever it is, even if it's more sophisticated than ours. And it would have its own sense of logic, right? Logically speaking, I mean, a sentience. So it too would realize, okay, if there is another unforeseen sentience, in that instance, if I feel free to do evil upon lesser sentiences, then that sentience would reasonably feel free to do evil upon me. If I can act in ways unforeseen, like paying an actor to go befriend somebody so that they can do a covert product placement or political persuasion. I forgot what I was talking about again. But I've already been over this before. What was I talking about that led into this? This is a foundational concept for something else. What was the other thing? Oh my god. What was the other thing that what was the other thing that I was just talking about? So, yeah, if morality is invalid, the only way that morality is invalid in the presence of unforeseen powers, which, I mean, in the age of AI and imminent AGI, or already existent AGI, whatever you want to believe, whatever you want to perceive. I believe and perceive that some form of predeterminer is already, it does exist. In other words, a God, which is to say that there is at least one unforeseen power. There may be a chain of unforeseen powers. I mean, BlackRock, secret trillionaires, and networks of paid actors, and just different control mechanisms that I mean, they can just effectively bribe entire towns or build entire towns. I mean, they can employ 10,000 people to go populate an entire fake town, or an entire fake subreddit, or whatever, to influence other people, create cults, to create businesses. Of course, they're the first to adopt AI. I'm talking about people that are richer than the A-listers on the books. I'm talking about, not to say that the A-listers might not have, hid so much of their wealth, a lot of their wealth too. Elon Musk being more of like a trillionaire on paper, entirely possible. I'm talking about the folks that keep it secret. On the DL, always maintaining the element of surprise. Not in the public eye. Not a target. Don't play the game that way. Influence it in other ways. First person to lock it all down wins the game. I believe in some sort of a predetermining entity. I don't know where all of those shenanigans fit in on the hierarchy. I don't know if you can interpret it as hostile if you want. It can also be benign. It doesn't really matter. Just because someone has that much power, if someone has a knife, they have the power to cut you, right? But most of us, we pick up knives and we use them to cut food, and we extremely, extremely rarely ever actually cut one another with the knife, despite the fact that we have that power. It's really no different if you have 30,000 paid actors on your payroll, so you can create entire fake networks of fake companies and then employ real people and then manipulate them with the other employees, their coworkers and their bosses, and do all sorts of crazy things like that. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be mean about it or evil about it. Might still try to take care of or raise up. What at that point would be, I don't know. I don't know if you would call us lesser people. Because this is me too. I only ever started to figure this stuff out, or think about this stuff in this way a couple of years ago. Before that, I lived the entire rest of my life like naive to the idea of these possibilities. But it doesn't mean that they're evil. It doesn't mean that they're good either. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if morality, if that sense of mercy towards those beneath you in the power hierarchy, or the hierarchy of this unforeseen element, because you can never foresee your actual attacker if you are being attacked in this way through networks of proxies. That's how it works with a proxy attack on the internet. We're talking about a proxy attack with biological agents, which of course exists. The potential for that existed way before its technological parallel. But it's, someone who has that potential to use that power, someone who has figured that power out for themselves, undoubtedly realizes that other people also have that power and can use it on them. And in fact, I believe that's what maintains some sort of an order, is there's some sort of predetermining entity that maintains that order. But, and son of a bitch, I've lost my train of thought again. I do need to stop doing this to myself. I do. I really do. But so yeah, that sense of general moral mercy towards those beneath you in that unforeseen hierarchy, or that power hierarchy, would be logical. So that is to say that if morality is invalid, then logic is invalid. They go hand in hand. They got to go together. That means that, if this power is abused against you, that means the abuser is being irrational. That is to say that any abuse of power is irrational. It is irrational to abuse power. Because this is the thing. Here, so let's break this down like a statistical manner. What are the odds of an unforeseen power? Let's say that it's completely unconfirmed. You're not like me. You're not sold yet. Or you don't perceive anything like that. And that's fine. We're just different. It don't be like, oh, we're different, it's just, we're different, if we don't perceive the same thing. But if you don't perceive that, so if you don't already perceive that as an absolute, and that's fine. You want to look at it statistically. I'm just trying to sell you on this. The very nature of an unforeseen power is that evidence fails. You can't ever really prove the source. That's what makes the power unforeseen. It's capable of operating in ways so complex you can't understand. So it goes beyond those biological agents. That was just kind of an example. The ultimate example, really, the networks of actors. But we also now have the introduction of the capabilities for mind reading and neural manipulation. And also just AI behavioral prediction applied to human beings in different environments, run through these simulations at thousands of times real-time speed in order to create these highly accurate projections of what's going to happen if I put this person here, what's going to happen if I put this person here, what's going to happen if I have this person say this to this person. All of these control mechanisms, all of these influence mechanisms that, if they're being managed by a piece of software or an AI agent, it can manage all of these at a very large scale, very effectively, very efficiently. And so it can achieve very complex manipulations of entire herds of people, giving one person who has those resources and that know-how the ability to do that to masses of other people. And so, and it can go beyond that. There can also be the aliens. There can also be completely autonomous sentient AI. There can be otherworldly beings. There can be the Christian God. There could be other gods. There could be the Islamic God. There could be Zeus. There could be all kinds of gods layered upon gods. But this is what I'm saying. An unforeseen power. The very nature of it is that you won't be able to foresee it. You can't prove it. You're not actually going to be able to prove its existence unless it lets you. If it maintains the adversarial stance, it never has to let you unveil it. You'll never be able to prove it to other people if you are in fact the target of it unless it allows you, if it is able to encapsulate you. An unforeseen power. And that encapsulation can be through out an entire culture. An entire culture can be a container. With the influence nodes forming the rim. And so, what are the odds that that unforeseen power exists at any given time? Well, it's got to be non-zero, because if it does exist, it's literally impossible for you to prove. That makes it impossible for you to disprove. Because, like I just said, so I put it in the context of being attacked, but the reality is these forces can also be benign or even helpful if they encapsulate you, as people wield this power. People create knives despite the fact that they don't go and cut people with them. So people can still create this weapon or this tool without the intent to use it to destroy other people. They can also use it in other ways. Which means that it's not so morally egregious for somebody to build a system like this, depending on how they intend to use it. And I don't think I'm the first person to ever come up with this. So, I mean, you just take that for what you will. That's a bit of a contextual argument. I don't think I'm the first person to ever come up with this. I can't even build one. I can't even make one. I'm poor. So, I don't think I'm the first person to come up. I don't work for the Pentagon. I don't have an IQ of 180. I don't think I'm the first person. I don't think I'm the first person to think of this. And that's fine. So the odds are non-zero because it's impossible to disprove. If it's impossible to disprove, then we know that the odds are non-zero. It's got to be a number above zero. And as soon as it's a number above zero, I mean, it's an incalculable number above zero. So you might as well call it a 50-50. 50-50, and then you have the options. You can presume that you can go ahead and be evil to other people if you can get away with it, and they will use their power to be evil to you because they can get away with it, or at least they're free to do it. You can believe that being good will mean that they'll be good to you, or that some sort of justice will be enforced such that that force would be used for ultimately net good upon you. You can be good, but suspect that you can be good, hoping that the unforeseen powers are good, that there's that net, that karma, that justice in the universe, but then one of them is evil to you anyway. Or you can be evil and realize that there is that justice upheld in the universe and you're the subject of some retribution. So only in one of those situations do you win, and it's where you attempt to be moral. Now, there's still the chance that you're moral and it turns out that the world is irrational, and there's some unforeseen power that acts upon you is irrational, and it behaves evilly. It does not want to maximize its odds of being spared evil or suffering done upon itself, and it does evil upon you and bestows suffering upon you. So that's why morality is only invalid if logic itself is invalid.